Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and here we are again for another Arena Direct event. You all know the drill by now. This is a digital event where you can win a paper Magic the Gathering booster box. We just gotta get 6 wins in a sealed event. So we gotta win the roulette spin a little bit and open a pretty great sealed pool, but we'll see what we can do about it. We are gonna hop right in there, bust open our packs, and see what we get to play with today. Alright, well, this is the best sealed pool in terms of rare quality I've ever opened in this event so far. We've got Emperor of Bones, which is just an incredible rare. This kind of single-handedly took me to my only 6-win run in any of the 6-win 2 losses events. That was in a qualifier play-in, sadly, which is basically just as competitive. The only people playing a qualifier play-in are going to be pretty competitive players, but unfortunately, that just qualifies me to play a modern tournament, or not modern, a historic tournament, instead of giving me a paper booster box of Magic cards. So a little sad about that, but the moral of the story is that this card's incredible. It single-handedly took me there. Sealed is slow enough. We could put Kozilek into a majority of decks, unless we're really, really aggressive. A 9-drop card that kind of auto wins the game is going to fit into anything. It'll be better in Eldrazi colors, and in Eldrazi colors, we've also got Linebreaker and Disa the Restless. These are great rares too. Yeah, there's just tons of stuff here. If we've got a really good energy deck, we can also go for some Storm Drakes. These are good if they're in your opening hand. You can drop them on turn 2 before your opponent plays a creature. And if you play them late in the game, if you have enough energy, then they are decent. And Ophelia is also just a great rare, and Chthonian Nightmare can be good in the right deck. Just a lot of stuff, a lot of options there for power, just powerhouses in the rare slot. We didn't get any Chrysalis, so no additional rares here. We did get a Path of Annihilation, which is really good Eldrazi ramp, but kind of it out of the green, it looks like. I was kind of checking green for ramp stuff towards Kozilek, and green's pretty empty. It's this and like a couple mediocre filler combat tricks. Foul Strike, Monstrous Vortex are pretty close to not main deckable. Yeah, no, green Eldrazi ramp is just not getting there. What are our multicolored cards? We got Riddlegate Gargoyle for energy. It's pretty good. Fine filler stuff. Conduit Goblin for energy is pretty good. Watchdog's pretty aggressive. Double Voidcraw towards Kozilek ramp is fun. 2 copies of it. We'd have to play green, which isn't great because our green's pretty empty, but that would give us our Wastescape Battle Mage as well. Helps us ramp into a Kozilek and an Eldrazi Ravager. If our blue's really good, green-blue could be actually exciting. But our blue has to be really good because our green is not. Well, we've got a lot of instant cuts out of white, like Orm's Chant, Charitable Levi, or Levy, I don't know. I hope it's Levi. 2 Conjurers, Decree. Knight's not great. Yeah, there's a lot of auto cuts here, but there's Ophelia and an Area Auxiliary, which are very, very good cards. Johnny Fell's the Godsire and Mandibular Kite are decent cards that played really well with Ophelia. I guess Mandibular Kite doesn't, but a Johnny Fell's the Godsire works great with Ophelia. Kite, like if the germ died, then sure. You can flicker the kite and get the germ back. Re-equipped. It's a little more narrow, but still good there. Yeah, I mean, white is powerful, but not a lot of cards. Blue. Blue-white flyers, blue-white energy and flyers could be a thing. Double Stormdrake, double Electrozoa, Hopebender. Great value play with Serum Visionary, great tempo play with Meddler. Solid main deckable removal with Utter Insignificances. Yeah, like the only thing I don't like here is the Sage and the Unsealing. Blue-white is definitely a possibility. Black has that Emperor Bones and a Chthonian Nightmare that's pretty fun. But has a couple cards we instantly need to cut and a couple that are not great. We just have to cut these 2. They don't do anything. And these aren't great, but they're playable. I guess Quest fits along that line. Black would be interesting for trying to do Emperor Bones Chthonian Nightmare combo nonsense. Certainly something we can do. Red gives us Amped Raptor for an incredible 2-drop, a Line Breaker for a huge win condition if we have enough colorless sources, but we don't have a good Eldrazi deck here towards Line Breaker. Nor towards the Glimpse the Impossible, which is really good in Eldrazi decks too, for all the Eldrazi spawn tokens if you care about them, but we only really care about them for Line Breaker. Yeah, I mean, red looks fine. I almost just want to go blue-white flyers here, weirdly enough. Did we have any fixing? We had to, right? Yeah, we have 4 landscapes. Did we have any flip cards? Blue, black, and black, red. Black, white, green, green, blue, red, red, white, black, and green, black, red. It's not a lot of great fixing and not a lot of overlap here. But I suppose that's 3 Jund lands as well as an insight towards playing Disa. Make some kind of Disa Jund pile. I mean, that does put a lot of very powerful rares into the deck. But the mana base is a little whack. There are only 3 landscapes towards colorless required costs, like Linebreaker, but we've got a lot of spawn. This is almost like Rakdos Splash Green, weirdly. Gives us Amped Raptor, Emperor of Bones, Linebreaker, and Kozilek, and Disa, for just a lot of raw power to make up for the inconsistency. I don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. How's the blue-white looking? At least the white, because that Philia combo nonsense seems strong. I mean, just Philia in general is already a strong card, so if you're doing any amount of synergy with her, she's insane. We need 13 playables from our second color. We're going to be a little light in blue-white. I guess we have to play Drownyard Lurker. Try to play Kozilek, but I think this is aggressive enough that'd be awkward. Do any of these work blue-white? None of our landscapes overlap with blue and white. There are some that are one of those colors, so if we really need colorless sources, we could play those. But none that are both. I mean, I could put the Power Stone in here, but that's only in here for Kozilek at that point. Could throw this Battle Mage in as well. But then we definitely have to play like off-color landscape sort of stuff. Get enough colorless sources to cast this. Then it's just 4 mana, 2/2 bounce a card, which is still decent, but it's really difficult to cast in this deck. Okay, I mean, this looks fine. We do have to stretch things a little bit, like throwing in a couple Eldrazi into an otherwise pretty aggressive deck. What about Boros? We get the Conduit Goblin in that direction. Get the Amped Raptor Charge Bug. Line Breaker. Play some colorless sources. Actually, I think with like Glimpse the Impossibles to oops Eldrazi spawn ramp into Kozilek. Kozilek looks more exciting in Boros than it did in blue-white. And Eldrazi Ravager actually gets some steam with triple Glimpse. Gets some action of its own. We do have one Boros landscape hitting both the colors. Still not great. But we would need to play all the one color landscapes as well. So this just for red, this just for white, this just for red. Because we need lands that are like red and colorless or white and colorless for Line Breaker. I mean, I like this better than the blue-white. This would be our 23 non-lands here. I don't know that this is just better than Jund Nonsense. I mean, Jund Nonsense is just the most cohesive towards getting to Kozilek. We have, like, no removal in the Jund deck, though. There's literally no interaction in the Jund deck. There's one Consuming Corruption that we can't play because we're a 3-color deck when we're playing Jund. That's it. That's literally it out of black, red, and green. The only removal spell. I guess we could run the Ember Mages for 6 mana deal 4s. But we're really, really low on interaction in that Jund deck, and that has me worried. We don't even have like an Accursed Marauder to make our opponent sack a creature or anything. Yeah, you know, I think with the like distinct lack of interaction, I'm gonna go with Boros or Azorius here. And I think I'm gonna go with the Azorius, because then we get to shove Kozilek in here and not feel as bad with the glimpses towards it. Yep, I'll shove Blood-Soaked Insight in here as a decent top deck in the late game that we can still play as a land turn 1. And then we'll shove a bunch of basics in and get into the gameplay. Okay, Rose-Caught Knight doesn't really do much of anything in this deck. We have 4 total artifacts or enchantments, so it's going to miss a decent number of the time, or a decent amount of the time. So I'm actually going to cut Rose-Caught Knight, and I'm going to just splash in an Emperor of Bones for a little more bomb power in here, because we're already running 1 red-black source with Blood-Soaked Insight, and 1, 2, 3 landscapes that can pull out a swamp. So we can just play a single swamp towards an Emperor of Bones splash. So we've got a little more bomb power in the deck. So toss that in there. Maybe Chthonian Nightmare as well. Honestly. Yeah, we've got a lot of good energy synergies just by being in Boros. So we'll do a little black splash here and do some Mardu nonsense. Since the Rose-Caught Knight as the 23rd playable looked pretty bad. And I'm sure there's something relatively equivalent we could drop out of here to splash in another just black bomb rare. Maybe the Eldrazi Ravager is awkward with only glimpses towards the spawn. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Keep the curve a little lower and everything. We'll drop that out of here. But now we'll throw a swamp in here, replacing one of our other basics. Got 8 white sources, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 red. So we drop a mountain for a swamp. And then we will hop in there. All right, here we are for game 1. This is kind of an awkward hand. We really want to draw lands instead of spells. So like half our draws are not great. Land draws are excellent. Doesn't really matter what lands we do draw. There are 3 castable spells, technically, but Chthonian Nightmare doesn't do anything for now. There are plenty of issues here, but got Kite into Charm no matter what, and because any land is a good draw, that's like 50% of our deck is good draws. Can hope here, and we can get the initial Chthonian Nightmare investment out of the way. There's a Glimpse coming up for just a bunch of mana. This removes counters from players, doesn't it? Target permanent or opponent. I might just Thraben Charm that, because that's pretty annoying for our energy deck. I don't hate Glimpsing just for Ember Mage mana, but I'd prefer to do it on turn 4, so that if we do Glimpse into any lands, I could do that. Ooh. Now as soon as I play an Ember Mage, I can shoot my opponent for 8 in the face. Hold up. If we get another energy producer, then I could immediately Ember Mage for 12 the turn I cast Ember Mage, because I cast an Ember Mage, I discard an Ember Mage to shoot them for another 4, then I sack the first one to pick up the second one. That would be so cool. That'd be such a way to end a game. Just 12 damage out of stone cold nowhere. So next turn probably Glimpsing, hoping to find another red source. But I see that as a very spicy potential way to end the game here. Yeah, I think I'd rather be making sure I hit my 4th land drop than playing Emperor without activating at the same turn. Kozilek, no! My friend. Well, if we get 9 energy, we could put it on board without the cast trigger. I could Deceptive Landscape for the 2nd black for Emperor. Or the 2nd white for a Johnny Fells the Godsire. Oh no. Dilemma. So Deceptive Landscape can activate one of these two. Mountain activates one of these two. I think I'm going to hit the landscape here and just save that Ember Mage nonsense as like our oops I win moment at the very end of the game. We can just plan to like a Johnny Fells the Godsire here if they play something good, and Emperor of Bones if they don't. They played something good, so I will fell that. If they didn't play anything good, instead I'd practice for black so I can play Emperor Exile thing and then slam in with that thing. But they played a good target to exile here, so I'm just going to exile something. Worst case scenario, cracking a spawn to do it, but top decking a mountain would be perfect, because that would lead into a later Ember Mage. Okay. Looks like cracking a spawn to do it, we shall. Amped Raptor gives us the energy towards an Ember Mage. If we don't spend that energy on whatever it would hit. When I say it gives us the energy towards an Ember Mage, I mean towards Chthonian Nightmare picking up an Ember Mage. I guess that's 5 out of 6, so it doesn't quite get there. It's close. Etched Slith. Amped Raptor Chthonian Nightmare is kind of just gross all by itself. With like Eldrazi spawn to sack towards it. They should remove the counters for my Saga so I can keep using it. Be pretty decent for me. Vigilant Flyer or Vigilant Cat? I don't think it really matters. They can just remove it. Alright, well let's see what Amped Raptor gets us. Anything that costs 5 or less is castable. Thraben Charm, sure. I think I still want to like play and activate this in the same turn if I can, but I'd have to hit another black source, and black is the splash. Yeah, Emperor's actually... I totally forgot earlier this game when I was talking about potential Emperor plus adapted in the same turn that black is a splash, so that's basically never going to happen for this deck. We do need the Emperor to survive a turn cycle because we don't have enough black sources. You could just hit them with a Kozilek. Makes the Eldrazi spawn hit them harder too. I mean, I'm never going to be able to Chthonian Nightmare back a Kozilek anyway, so that's probably the play. Three mana for that. This is going to be 4 damage if they don't kill it, because we're adapting more counters onto it. So that's the most damage we can maximize. It's adapt 2, so I can still play Conduit Goblin here. Okay. So... move to combat. Since we're in full control, it's going to let me exile the card, and then after that resolves, I can adapt before we move to attacks. But Arena doesn't usually set a stop there every turn, so you do have to full control that. And there's the concession. They don't want to get hit in the face with a Kozilek, so we start things off 1-0, heading into game 2. I'm going to try to glimpse a Kozilek. We'll see what we can do. First Wombat could be a problem, but I cannot Thraben Charm it without any permanents out, so... Jund, and there's Eldrazi Repurposer. Well, Philia can permanently kill an Eldrazi spawn token, which is nice. Just keep them off of completely ramping out on me. Speaking of completely ramping out, with a Kozilek in hand, I think we're good to glimpse without playing any extra cards off of it. So let's do that. Well... yeah, I mean, we're not going to block with Philia here. I guess I have to actually flicker the Repurposer. I don't get to kill their spawn, because otherwise they just kill Philia when she attacks. Goodbye, lands. Six out of 9 mana. We need to survive 3 more turns, but now our Thraben Charm is very active to help us do that. Signature Slam. Get out of here, Philia. Ooh, and they get double counters from that Wombat. You know, surviving just 3 more turns is starting to look kind of difficult when I'm not trumping with Eldrazi spawns here. I can definitely kill the 6/6 Repurposer, at least with Thraben Charm. Or the 5/5 Repurposer, sorry. I play a 2/3 chump blocker, or I kill the 5/5. problem is killing the 5/5 gives them another spawn, and we don't know what they're ramping towards here. That'd be 6 mana. But, I mean, I already just can't beat a 5/5. It's not looking good. Signature Slam Wombat just put in a lot of pressure. On board, we're only taking 2 damage now. But we don't know how big their spell gets to be now. Maybe we're just taking a giant wombat hit. Nope, take 2, down to 9. Evolution Witness. No green source up, luckily. And a transmigrant? Okay. It's not as bad as it could have been. It's not ideal. This is a lot of mana. I mean, I do need 2 of these, but... just hoping for another spell so I can double spell this turn towards the Kozilek. Just to have the protection here a little bit more. Well, I can drop Kozilek next turn, and then I have a 9/9 and a couple 5/4s. If they can't deal with the Kozilek, then if we survive one more turn, could be stable. Take 5 damage on board, 7 to the Evolution Witness. Technically not dead, so I'm pretty sure I have to take it all to guarantee Kozilek. Oh no, it's 8 damage, and it's a double Wombat trigger? Oh my god. I mean, we're playing the most removal-heavy deck we could be in our sealed pool, so it is what it is. I get the Wombat Witness combos. I kind of had to use my 1 removal spell on the big 5/5 earlier. I would have taken just considerably more damage from it by now. Alright. Please be fantastic, Kozilek. I need you to somehow completely stabilize us. Which is immensely unlikely. If they have any removal, we're dead. Alright. Show me 1 removal spell. Eldrazi Repurposer is not removal. And so they pass the turn and we're still here for now. They need a green-black and 2 to adapt this. They don't have the green source untapped, so we can kill Wombat with Ember Mage here to establish a 4th blocker while clearing out their 4th attacker. Actually, their 5th attacker. They're going for Transmigrant here. So we will still be dead to them top-decking removal. But yeah, I think their plan here is to have 5 attackers against 4 blockers, have me just play 1 thing on blocks, so Ember Mage is it's the most likely way to have enough blockers. We have to just Ember Mage the Wombat, and then we've got 4 blockers against the 4 attackers, the Transmigrant and those 3. Crack a Landscape. Bring the Transmigrant back. They did crack for a blue source, which makes me think they have like blue removal in their hand, weirdly. The 4th color has arrived. So I guess they show us the blue removal and it's the exact same as last turn. Show me the removal and we're dead. Yep. I mean, that's not blue removal, but we're dead. Alright. Bummer. Things were just really, really slow off that start. I was hoping Kozilek would get there, but they had a pretty fast start with the +1/+1 synergies. Having the Wombat out with the +1/+1 removal spell specifically was probably the biggest turn of the game, getting 2 counters off that thing. Just a massive swing in the board state. Alright, here we are on the play with a lot more blockers in the early game. This is a snap keep, actually. The turn 3 line breaker is going to be putting in work. Another green-black deck. Glimpse is pretty nice. That works with both the Linebreaker and the Kozilek pretty well. Oh, do they have a Wither and Bloom? Good sealed pool. Send in a pass. I think Wither and Bloom is better than every removal spell in our sealed pool. Our best removal that we have is Thraben Charms and Utter Insignificance. R.I.P. Well, those are some sad mills. Oh, time to get bombed into the next run. Just play a forest, get a 3/3, and every land draw on their deck is a 3/3 now. I mean, I can Thraben Charm the enchantment, but they're already up a card from it at this point. Getting very ahead on board quite quickly. As much as I'd love to play Auxiliary, I have to just Thraben Charm this Spring Heart Nantuko. It doesn't even feel like a particularly viable strategy, because then I just take 6 on the crackback still. I mean, I just don't see how I'm ever winning if I just let the Spring Heart Nantuko keep popping off. There's an Oozewag. Down to 10. I actually like land draws here, so I'm not going to thin a mountain out of the deck right now. Well, I might have to crack one of these spawn towards the Thraben Charm. At 10 life, I probably do have to do that. So they're at 14, taking 5 in the sky a turn. We're taking 6 on the ground. We've got spawn tokens we might be able to chump around with. Double Wither and Bloom. Man. I mean, this sealed pool had some cool bomb rares, but it does not have the cheap interaction, and it is showing. That is gross. Oh, it has 3-bin charm, but that's mediocre cheap interaction. Because you have to have a board state towards it. Doesn't have premium interaction, would be a better way to say it. Like, not the kind of removal spells you'd take, like pack 1, pick 2, pack 1, pick 3 kind of stuff. I forgot I was shutting off trample. I could have stopped 1 more point of damage. Give up on Kozilek here. Yeah, I mean, I'm at 6 life. If we can get a Gatekeeper Unearth with like a Glimpse in the same turn or something, we might be able to cheese out lethal. I don't know, we'd have to draw really well. Six damage on board. I'd have to have 5 creatures hit the board for 1 turn lethal. Yeah, no, we'd have to go runner on like really good draws. I guess Glimpse would work, because it would give us the chump blockers too. Okay, well, not if they play white. Maybe if they play white. Got a couple ways to play this. Can sell it down the white, hit for 4, put them to 7, triple ping, put them to 4. And then I have 3 Eldrazi spawn to chump, chump, chump. But if they have any removal, we die. Can play around removal, but make it way less likely that we find lethal in any way by just attacking with the flyer and the unearth card and saving Zealot to tap somebody down on the defensive. And then I just hit them for 5, they go to 6 here, and we're hoping to get to Kozilek. Which still isn't going to happen, because I'm going to have to chump with all the spawn I'm getting anyway. So sure, I could have you know, 6 lands and 2 spawn or 5 lands and 3 spawn, but then I have to chump with them immediately, so we're still not getting to Kozilek, so I don't think I'm supposed to play it that route. I think we just pray. Hope they just absolutely miss here. Alright, please miss. Draw nothing, and then let me draw something. Sure, there's a card or two that'll do it, although both of my deal 4s are gone. Both of the Ember Mages, as well as my Recursion. So we can't just, like, deal 4. There's gotta be something. Emperor of Bones probably kills them. I guess I only have 1 black source, so no. Dang. Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, Wing It would work. That's a +2/+2 combat trick. Okay, we have at least 1 out. We have Wing It. There might be something else. That's all I know for sure. I guess if they don't have any creatures in their hand, we could also just top deck something to kill the white. The Johnny Fells the Godsire thing. To exile it. Or we could top deck a basic land where our fate is sealed. There is no play that doesn't get us killed. Yeah, that's just dead. Well, Kozilek was by far the biggest underperformer in this deck. It was just too much mana. Thought sealed would be a little slower than this, because a lot of our other games in the sealed format have been slower, but we've just been dying with way too few mana for this thing in both of our losses. So maybe just Mardu Energy without the Kozilek was the best way to build this one. But I still feel like our distinct lack of premium removal, of great interaction, has been the biggest hindrance in our deck, and that's a hindrance in the sealed pool as a whole. Maybe blue-white would have been our best. Utter Insignificances are not great. They're like Thraben Charm level. But at least we'd have double Thraben Charm, double Utter Insignificance, and we'd be more consistently casting our spells, because we would not have the big 9-mana Kozilek we're praying for. Oh, wow. Our opponent has the Magical Christmas Land Dream Pool. Well, yeah, I don't know. The lack of removal hurt a lot. And we just got kind of steamrolled in the early games. Just trying to set up for Kozileks on both of the losses, but that is, again, another look at the sealed pool. There's 2 Utter Insignificances we're not playing. 1 Consuming Corruption we'd have to be deep into black for, and that is literally all of the removal in the whole sealed pool. Yeah, we just can't defend ourselves super well from specific targets, so just blue-white trying to outrace them, I guess, was the best place to be. Maybe went with the wrong build on this one, but I don't know. Looks like that's just the way the cookie crumbles for us. It's going to be 1 and 2, which I think is our first negative record in one of these arena directs. Our first with less wins than losses, which is brutal. I think we've went like 3-2 in every other one, so it's not like we did great, but 1-2 is still pretty rough, but it doesn't feel like there was a lot we could do with our sealed pool that'd be particularly better, or a lot we could do with our decks. Could have been a solid blue-white tempo deck. Probably was our best bet, judging by how our losses went, but I don't even know if that deck wins those those rounds, those matchups. You never know. You never know. We took it in a direction, and it didn't pay off, but that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.